Hey guys, so number 14 out of 64 Disney movies is in the book, Lady and the Tramp, all finished, and I have to say it was not as fascinating as I thought it was going to be. I can't really recall anything about this movie. I swear I watched it once when I was little, but I just don't have any recollection of it. So it was basically a brand new movie to me this time watching it, which was cool. It was nice to watch a brand new Disney movie that I have never seen before. Because I just don't recall any of it. And I have to say, there's a reason why I haven't watched it in so long, because it was absolutely boring. I could not really, I could not get engaged with the story. I mean, I watched it, but it just was boring all along, and there wasn't any, action or anything like that. There was so much talking throughout the movie, and I could not believe that, I don't understand how little kids could watch this movie and, I guess follow along and sit there quietly. Definitely nowadays, I don't think kids could sit through that movie. I think you gotta be at least 10 years or older to watch this movie and really sit down, pay attention, and understand what's happening, because there's just so much. It just drags along. It's not fast paced at all. There's no action until the end of the movie. Then you get the emotion at the end of the movie, and it wasn't even super sad in many ways. I was kind of sad in some ways, but I thought Lady and the Tramp was more of a romance, kind of sadness a little bit movie, and I don't know, I didn't get really the sadness part. I got the romance part for sure. The romance between Tramp and Lady, which was very interesting, because, I never realized that he's called Tramp because he really is actually a kind of a tramp, and it's kind of funny that Disney called him a tramp, and he is one, and they're showing this to kids. Maybe that wasn't their intention to show it to kids, but older adults back then, I don't know. But the fact that he's a tramp in the movie is kind of funny to me. And that he is, because later on, after Lady gets caught and gets put in the dog pound, and because she has a collar on, she is one of the lucky ones, and they can figure out, who her owner is. So, when she's in the dog pound, she ends up meeting all the girl dogs that Tramp has a relationship with, and rather that's, how far their relationships are all, I don't know, but it's kind of imposed that he did stuff with all of them. And it's just funny. I would have never thought. I mean, it was weird. It was kind of weird picking that up and seeing that, especially and this is a movie for all little kids to watch. At least that I thought it was. I don't know. People say a lot of Disney movies have a lot of sexual innuendos and stuff like that, and some I can understand. Others, I don't see it, but this one, it definitely saw it, and definitely made the movie pretty interesting. One of the cool things I like about the older movies, and I think it's really neat, is that a lot of the characters from the classic Disney movies, and we're talking about Pinocchio and Peter Pan and Jungle Book and Lady and the Tramp now, and Robin Hood in this too, because that's an important point for what I'm making, is that a lot of the voices of the characters that we see in the movie are the same in other movies. So in Lady and the Tramp, I don't know how recently people have watched this movie, or if they ever have or anything, but if you watch it, the bulldog that's in the dog pound, his voice is actually Mr. Smee from Peter Pan. And you can clearly pick up on it. And even in other Disney movies, like Baloo is, what's his name? Little John in Robin Hood, which I always found interesting and funny, because they're both bears. And I'm like, wait, was Baloo in Robin Hood? That's what I always thought when I was a little kid. I always thought that Baloo was in Robin Hood, and he just happened to change, he just happened to change colors, because in in Jungle Book, he's grayish, kind of almost like bluish in a way. And in Robin Hood, he's orange, and he's got orange fur, brown fur, whatever you want to say, or whatever color fur you want to give him. But I just always find it interesting how back then they always used similar voices to play different characters. I thought that was neat, and I did not I never recognize or never realized that in Lady and the Tramp until now. But then again, I haven't seen it in forever. Other than that, I mean, the emotion at the end of the movie is really interesting. Throughout the entire movie, I feel like the animals are kind of stereotyped in a way with how they're portrayed, like especially the cats, like they're all clawing up everything and then they cause trouble, which is how Lady gets kind of like booted out of the house. And of course, it's the old lady, the grandmother, who loves the cats, and it's the younger family, the younger niece and nephew that love the dogs. So it's kind of interesting how that is played out in the movie, and then just how the dogs are portrayed as you go on in the movie. But I would have to say, like, this is probably, like, it's better than Bolt for sure. I would choose watching this over Bolt, but ranking this, I went from a very great Disney movie in Princess and the Frog to now a pretty bottom low movie. And with that said, I'm ranking Lady and the Tramp at number 13. So there's been 14 Disney movies that I've watched so far out of the 64 that I have to watch, and Lady and the Tramp is ranked number 13, below Big Hero 6 and right above Bolt. I definitely think this it's funny how both dog movies are at my bottom list. This one I think is better than Bolt just because of it's a classic Disney movie. It's got that classic feel to it. And I feel like you can connect better with the story in a way. And like it's, even though it's kind of boring and there's not a whole lot of action, I would prefer watching this over Bolt. And don't get me wrong, like I would watch all these movies all over again. I'm just saying, like, how I'm ranking this, Bolt is at my bottom end, and I just can't get into Bolt. Like, the only reason I love Bolt is because of Rhino. That's the only reason. But Lady and the Tramp, better than Bolt. So, with that said, Lady and the Tramp, number 13 on my list. Now I got to figure out what Disney movie I'm going to watch next. So, stay tuned for my next video, and you'll get to find out what Disney movie I'm going to watch next, and then find out where I'm going to rank that one. Thank you guys so much for watching these.